We have Judge Law in the studio. In the meantime, we'll be having Joe Apia, Member of Parliament for Ablekuma North, joining us in the course of the program. Thanks for joining us, George. On the front page of the Chronicle, it says MPP probes $306 million Rage Hospital scam. And particularly the story featured on page 2 and page 3 of the paper says the MPP minority in Parliament has vowed to probe the ongoing $306 million Rage Hospital expansion project to ensure that there's value for money to the taxpayer. They have in effect indicated their preparedness to file for a motion of rescission, which will compel Parliament to recall the commercial agreement of the project for further interrogation before approving it. Well, this agreement cannot be allowed to stand, where we have a quote from the minority leader, Ose Chairman Sabonso. You're a member of Parliament. How come we've reached this very point of this agreement in the House, when the agreement was first approved in the House in the first place?
Thank you very much, Rolanda. Let me take the opportunity to say good morning to our cherished viewers, the length and breadth of this country, and let me wish my colleagues, members of Parliament who are on recess, a good week. Roland, I didn't wake up very excited this morning, because particularly I've tried to follow through this story as it unfolded yesterday. As a result of some purported State of the Nation address that was read by my colleagues in the minority. I wonder on what legal or constitutional grounds that they were issuing their State of the Nation. I mean, it's all laughable, but well, it's part of the politics. But more importantly, Roland, you see, when members of Parliament, we call ourselves honorable men, when we conduct ourselves in this manner, for me, we are just, I don't know what to say, but I feel very sad. I feel very uncomfortable, and I also feel very, I can't even find the right words this morning. It's a despicable attitude to put up as members of Parliament. Roland, let me tell you what. If you understand how Parliament works, okay? If you understand how Parliament works, every committee is formed through a weighted system. So, for instance, you have maybe 40% from the minority, 60% from the majority. And then you, as a result of that, you have regional balance, gender balance, and all that. That goes into how a committee is constituted in Parliament. So when a loan agreement or a bill or something goes before a select committee of Parliament, it is discussed thoroughly. Consensus most of the time is reached before a report is even, and a report is presented to the House. A report from the committee. Both sides might have read the result and agreed that we agree to this report. You know, the report is now tabled and discussed by the entire membership of the House, or plenary, as we call it, before the Speaker puts the question, and then it's either approved, or if it's not approved by consensus, then we may have to do a vote or a voice count. The minority sat through all these things. And if I tell you some of the key members on that committee, Honorable Napo, Material Premper, is a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, who looked at this. In actual fact, Dr. Richard Anani is the ranking member for health. And so? And there are several other top-notch MPP parliamentarians who sit on the Health Committee. And so? This came before the House. It was debated. They didn't raise any questions. It was the minority leader who came back from somewhere, I don't know, and said that he has heard that something like this has passed. But you know, when you read, even when you read this story, sometimes you can't understand where our brothers are coming from. I would do anything to ensure that we get value for money. Yes. If government did not even want value for money, for what reason would we bring crown agents to come and do due diligence? If we didn't want, it wasn't like anybody forced the government to come and do due diligence. So the government itself ask the Crown agents to come and do due diligence. But is it mandatory that once the person comes to do due diligence, it's sacrosanct? You said that after they had brought their report, if you read the story, the ministry itself thought that they had 1 or 2 points. So they go out there and renegotiate with the contractors and they get a certain downward, what's it called, rebate. Now that rebate is used, is said to be going to be used for additional work. Bottom line is that you see, the fact that they are, and then the comparison is that, oh, maybe Rich Hospital, Rich Hospital is so expensive, Legon and other hospitals are possibly doing similar projects. But why? If I am buying a V8 customized.
Well, I do understand, because you are residents in the studio, would want to touch base with the Executive Director for Imani Ghana, and Franklin Kujo. Thanks for joining us on a very short notice. We're very sorry we hadn't give you a prior notification before calling you. But you're a very good resource person. We're always grateful for your contributions to public discourse. But more importantly, have you been following the subject of the approved loan of some $306 million for the rehabilitation of the Rich Hospital? And now we have the minority in Parliament coming back to say, well, there were aspects of the loan that really connoted some level of not having value for money for the country Ghana.
Well, thank you very much. I have been following, like all other projects that are usually undertaken in this country, the ones that have very, should I put it, commanding prices, simply because of what? Found out that obviously governments are a bit short at making sure that we get value for money projects, and I think we take them to the thing. There's a program that gives that advice, and some of us were quite taken aback. I'll tell you the genesis of this particular story. I had a friend, a Canadian, who was introduced to me by the Canadian High Commission. And I do recall that he was telling me that some of his partners in Canada were willing to do this refurbishment of the Rich Hospital. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he told me, and I think he showed me some papers that essentially said the evaluation was $150 million, $150 million. That's about how many years ago? I think 2 years ago, thereabout. Then I said, well, he thought because I probably had a bit of influence, I could speak. And I said, well, I'm not a lobbyist, so I can't. But it's good that you've given me a reference point. So you go and do your lobbying. If you get it, good luck. If you don't, well, bad luck. Then that matter, we left that matter. Only for this rich team to resurface. I think it was Richard Sky who had been working on this thing as well. And then told me about it, and I saw the papers. A tune of almost 300 million. And I said, well, wait, what's this? Was this Crown agents, the government's own evaluator?
Well, we seem to be having some difficulty with the line there. Frankly, we'll have to call you back. And you were making the point about some other inferences you had been alerted to early on, particularly on this very project, and how perhaps another interested party also wanted to undertake it all the same. But usually, when it comes to such agreements, when they come before Parliament, what really is the process?
That's what I'll be explaining to that now. The minister brings it to Parliament. It is referred to the appropriate committee. Sometimes where the subject matter overlaps one committee, there's a joint committee of the House that has to deal with it. And all committees have minority members, majority members. So sometimes the finance committee together with some other committee will look at a loan agreement, for instance, you know, for a particular subject matter area. When that is done, once it is referred to the committee goes into a meeting. Okay. Sometimes they even go to a workshop where the ministry will come and explain to them all the components of the project, why they are costing it this way, why they are not doing it this way, what the difference is between one project and another. When that has been done, now there is a committee report that, yes, we've looked at it, this is our opinion as a committee, and then it's brought to the House. The House now debates that report. If you have any issue against the project or the facility, it is at that point that you can now table it on the floor for Mr. Speaker to give you the necessary direction. It's at that place they can bring a motion or a counter or whatever you want to do at plenary. They didn't do any of these things, giving the impression that they were all satisfied. And in fact, I am aware of this project, and he mentioned with his sky and all that. I have spoken to your own Elton John Brobe, if you ask him. I mean, we initially had problems.
But as a member of Parliament, aren't you worried about, especially when we have civil society and even members of your kind raising questions?
Bottom line is that, you see, you are talking about civil society. You are talking about. That's why I was going to actually attack you for calling Imani.
Okay, we have Franklin on the line again.
Because I think that this kind of ambush journalism doesn't help us very much. If you wanted, if you asked me, if you told me you were going to bring Imani, I would also bring documents and things. I don't have documents here to speak.
You're a member of Parliament,
yes.
so.
But whatever it is, let's hear him and then we'll come back to this.
Now, Franklin.
I'm not too sure that someone needs to tell you, Roland, a very well-experienced journalist, how to do your work. That's an insult to you. But let's stay in there.
Franklin has no right to make that kind of comment. He should respect himself, and we are on air. We don't like that kind of thing. He should stick to the issues and keep quiet.
George, listen.
He should stick to the issues. He's too fan of that. He thinks he's on top of this world.
Listen, George, what's
going on? No, Roland, you see, everybody must respect themselves. So Franklin should stick to the issues and keep quiet.
No, George.
You had a right to defend yourself. You are here.
No, George. Now, Franklin, are you on the line?
Roland is just one attestation of the fact that he's saying that if he knew that you were bringing him money, he would have brought documents, which means that he didn't even prepare to come to your show.
No, frankly, I think your comment too is very much untoward.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Sorry.
Yes, please.
Let me go ahead.
Now let's go to the substantives. Now, right. the question I want to ask you, that coming from the point of civil society, if members of Parliament make an approval, then they come back and say, well, we feel there's a problem with it. What didn't they see in the first place?
Well, first of all, Roland, I don't think it hurts to go back, if you like, on your way. Don't forget that after the discussions were had on the deal, the government's own Crown agent, which is the evaluator, was asked to do its work and then came out and said, look, they used the words, this project would not give the Kenyan taxpayer value for money. Now, these are very important statements, value for money. Any responsible legislator would then go back and say, oh, if our own evaluator has said that, look, it's been overblown by this cost and wouldn't give the Kenyan taxpayer value for money, then we've got to bring it back to Parliament and have discussions. And by the way, Roland, since when have we all of a sudden woken up to the idea that once something has been decided in Parliament, it can go back? We are chasing the $3 billion Chinese loan over and over again. You know what it is? Because every now and then, some aspects of the agreement, the Chinese are saying, have got to come back to Parliament for discussions. And these are some of the troubling issues we have to deal with. I'm not for once even interested in, you know, one of the things about the Ghanaian politics is that there's a lot of high-octane fury over something that is needless. Look, this is a question of value for money. If it was done right, we'd so be it. If it wasn't done right, we go back, bring it to Parliament, and discuss it. In fact, if you even prevent this discussion in Parliament, you only heighten certain suspicions that you are possibly in cahoots. But the fact of the matter is that your own evaluators have said that the project, and Roland, please, if you find time, read the evaluators' comments, and you see this phrase: the project would not offer Ghanaian taxpayers value for money.
I have read aspects of
you.
Yes, and now the thing is, the approval was made after the agreements had been perused by the the committee and brought to the whole, and the approval was made by all parliamentarians. Now, these issues were not raised at that point. Yes.
Roland, there's something we call redemption, there's something we call refit. And I'm too sure that even when the Supreme Court has decided on the matter, it even revisits its own rules or ruling. I'm not too sure it's different of Parliament.
Okay.
Why do we have amendments?
Okay, Franklin, I get your point. Just be on the line for me now, George. Your response to what Franklin is saying.
I think that Roland, we've taken the whole. You see, this is what I thought. You're taking the whole thing out of context.
That what?
Because Franklin is coming from a position as though I have said that you can't bring it back to Parliament.
No, he's not said.
No, that's why he's. Oh, please, I'm listening to you. Listen, he's saying that he finds nothing wrong in us bringing it back to Parliament. No, we haven't arrived at that stage. I have never said that if people are minded to ask that it should be brought back, shouldn't be brought.
So why
my position is that, you see, wait, take your time, Roland. Please take your time. One, Franklin is also assuming that Parliament, the Crown agents did their evaluation after Parliament had looked at it. No. At the time it came to Parliament, before the approval was given, they were aware. The committee was aware of the Crown agents. And let me tell you, even at a certain point, the committee roped in people who were not members of the committee, but who had technical knowledge about this thing. And I know Honorable Kwame Agboja, who is a chartered architect, was invited as a friend of the committee, particularly for this document. And he has worked on huge hospitals in the UK. So he came as a resource person to guide the committee in arriving at.
And after all this, the approval was still made.
Yes, and I'm saying that after all this,
despite the comments of Crown agents,
I'm saying that despite all the information was available to the committee, and yet they still came. My worry is that we are talking about corporate governance. And with corporate governance, there are proper ways of doing things. You see, in this country, we have somebody who sits on a board, takes a decision. When public shouts against the decision, he comes quickly and goes to hold caucus with his team and say, well, we don't agree. There are people who sit on regulatory...
So who should be held responsible?
When I'm saying that it is irresponsibility on anybody's part to be part of a whole. When you had the opportunity to say that I don't agree, how many times have the minority walked out of Parliament because they didn't agree with something? I am saying Roland, please. All I'm saying is it's an indictment on members of Parliament to sit as part of a committee, approve, write a report, agree to the report, their chairman reads the report, their ranking member supports the report. They put it to plenary. When I'm saying that the same group of people, when they come back to say this, it's an indictment on them.
Okay, now Franklin,
and that is the
Franklin, are you still on the line?
Looking at.
Yes, I am.
Okay, now do you think that perhaps members of Parliament are taking a certain posture that doesn't inure to the overall sense of the argument that has been raised, not only by civil society, but specifically also by even those sections of Parliament that seem to think that, well, we made an approval, now after having a relook and on hindsight, we feel that we need to again take a relook at it?
I think it's the highest order of responsibility if Parliament decides that they need to have a look again at its own rules and again its own rulings. I think it's just fair. And if the way it is, I think it's just fair that they sit on it. Possibly, obviously, the majority will have maybe better arguments and then say that, no, we shouldn't do this. But at the rate at which it's going, to suggest that some people were seated and they sat and didn't do A, B, C, D, and later found out that this was done, unfortunately, I don't think I have to buy into that. Because Parliament can go back and do its own, revisit its own rulings, just as we have amendments. I think it's fair.
Okay, thank you very much, Franklin Kojo, Executive Director for Imani Ghana. Thanks again for the short notice that we had to give you for this very subject. Nothing wrong now.
No, Roland, I find, first of all, I find Franklin's particular...
I think from the beginning...
I'm saying that I find his last reasoning very, very, very unfortunate. When you are put on a select committee of Parliament, please, you have a responsibility to ensure that whatever report you are bringing to plenary, it's a report that you believe in. You see, what I'm saying is that then every now and then, a parliamentary committee will go into caucus, sit down, spend days, sometimes I retreat, come back, write a report, decide to do nothing, sit back, then after some time for political expediency say, well, We don't believe in the thing, bring it back. That must be stopped. It's a height of irresponsibility. I want to say that. I am saying that.
I'm giving you that leverage.
Yes,
use that phrase as much as you want. Yes, I am
saying that I do not want a situation where members of parliament will be running themselves down this way. I believe that I am also not against...
members of parliament seem to think that the work that was initially done was not done
I'm saying
well,
that when you are
difficulties
please,
and problems.
When you are sent to parliament, you are not sent to parliament to sit in committee and look on. You are sent to make an input at your committee level. In areas where you do not understand or you do not have the expertise, go out there and find some explanation. But what I want to say is that from where I sit, and I'll tell you, engage your colleague journalists. I will not be against anybody.
Let me ask you a question. Do you agree that as human beings who constitute committees, who constitute parliament, you could also be prone to making mistakes?
Do you know what a member? Do you know the number of members that make up a committee?
I asked a question.
I'm asking you.
I have reported extensively on parliament.
I'm saying some 18, some 25.
Yes, I know that.
And I'm saying that you see,
the committees are not composed of only few people.
When you have different people, medical doctors, and all that.
So they can't make mistakes?
I'm saying that at least, okay, it's not this kind of mistake where you say. Do you know the figure we are talking about? $100 and something million.
I'm saying that.
I'm saying that. Please, I am saying that. No.
Doing an assessment.
No. At the point
doing
where
feasibility.
At the point where they were doing the
agents.
I'm saying that at the point they were.
It's a reputable.
Please, Roland. Let me. At the time that they were approving the report, the candidate report was available. So don't make it look as though.
We all know that it
please,
was
I'm saying that don't make it look as though it was after they had finished.
No. Everybody understands.
I am saying that. I am saying that Roland.
Agreement was before the committee.
I'm saying that Roland.
Was brought before plenary.
Please.
The Crown Agents report was available.
I am saying that for me, it doesn't speak well of us as parliamentarians at any point in time to be given a job to do by Mr. Speaker, and then you come back when the dust is settled. After some afterthought, you come and say that no, I don't.
You think it's wrong?
I think that it
you
is
think the position of the minority
is using a word. I said it is irresponsibility.
Right. You think it is irresponsibility?
Yes, on the minorities' part to come and be playing this kind of.
But could they be having a point?
Well, as to whether they have a point or not, can only be determined when. For instance, there's a suggestion that the proposal we brought back to Parliament. If at that point they say that they have a point, fine. But I'm saying that you shouldn't wait. Go and come, go and come, go and come. When you are given a job to do, sometimes you stay the night and ensure that the best thing to do. Because the only reason why you are in Parliament for some of these things is to ensure that there's value for money. You are, at the level of Parliament, you are at the supervisory level. You are supposed to ensure that when even the civil servant has failed, you would right the wrong.
Why is it that you're finding it difficult, Mr. George Lowe, as a member of parliament, that your house, the body that you belong to as a member, could make mistakes or could have done something that was untoward, and as a result of the need to be...
I am saying that, you see, these things that we are making noise about is nothing. Parliament is master of its own rules, so it can be brought back, but I'm saying that when you have a block who has all the information, who must make a decision? And then nothing will pass, because tomorrow, what if tomorrow another...
So what? Things will pass.
No, I'm saying that we should behave more responsibly.
That what?
Say the things when you must say them. Corporate governance, Roland. Corporate governance is such that...
So supposing you didn't say, you can't go back or renege on whatever you say and say, I need to have a relook. There's a question about over and over.
Roland, it is very basic, Roland. So are you saying that all those who didn't vote for President Mahama, or those NDC people who voted for President Mahama, should now come back and say that President Mahama, we have to do the elections again because I think we made a mistake in voting for you?
They are the same.
No, they are not. Please. At the level of Parliament, you represent the people.
We have to move on to a subject.
Yes, but Roland, you must understand.
You must understand. Politics.
You must understand.
Daily Graphic, Mr. George Lowe, I think you are not accepting a certain...
No, Roland. I am saying that people must do their work when they must do their work.
The Daily Graphic has on the front page, Afoko gives Jake in team hot chase as backstage wranglings herald MPP Congress. And we have that story on page 3, and it talks about the battle lines have been firmly drawn as fierce backstage wranglings and maneuvers get underway within the main opposition party, the MPP, 5 days to its National Delegates Conference, Congress in Tamale. And we already have a team there. We'll be calling Ben Efson because he is the managing editor of the paper The Daily Dispatch, but more importantly because he's a known poster. He has gained a credibility actually among all those who seem to be doing the publications when we have the elections. He follows the political issues. On the front page of his paper, he says MPP must groom persons who can attract floating voters. And it's a subject that has bogged the minds of many people who seem to be doing political analysis in Ghana. And I have to speak to you. When you have the MPP readying themselves, and since your party would have had 8 years in government, then you seem to be shaking in your seats.
I don't see. I think that the MPP has a right to do their politics. They have a right to go and elect their national executives, and that's what they are doing. I think that we should just give them the space. It's part of our democracy, and whatever they do, it's up to them as a party. I think that the real battle is for 2016. And for these ones, their preparations, they are putting their house in order. Is good. We need a vibrant opposition in the country. So if the
for you make nothing of it. Now, well, particularly for political parties, how crucial is it that when you're putting together such internal events, you don't tend to malign each other when you're doing the politicking?
Yes, because beyond the internal competition, there's the external one. So we are watching, we are listening. If they decide to do themselves in, normally the MPP, knowing them, they don't even do it very well. They say the most outrageous things about each other. In the end, why? When it comes to, let Ghanaians know that the person you are presenting, the people who are leading you, this is what they are. They themselves have said it. So for me, it is their cup of tea. If they choose to go and do dirty politicking, that they will have to pay for it someday. It should be on their mind as they go ahead. We all ask for decent politicking in the country, and we must start from within our parties. Roland, I don't have to like you to work with you. I don't have to malign you because you are competing with me. I think that it is good and it's decorous to have healthy competition. The young ones are watching, the youth in our parties are watching, and the cleaner the politics, the better the future of this country. So I will call on the NPP to have these things at the back of their minds as they go to Congress on Saturday. They've already started people calling people names. It is not the best for our democracy. We can do politics clean in this country and still go on.
Okay, when it comes to the internal activities, and we've witnessed it too within the NDC, sometimes there are comments that really go beyond the roof. Usually, what mechanisms do you think need to be introduced to make sure that, well, people stay within their lines, they don't go overboard?
Well, I think that every party have their internal rules and regulations. So most of the time, you get the impression that these things are just left off when we are in the heat of politicking. I think it's unfortunate. We should just ensure that our internal rules are strong enough to regulate some of these things, and remedial action should be taken against people who...
Mr. Benaston, a known pollster is on the line. A very good morning to you, sir.
Hello.
Well, good morning, sir. Thanks for joining.
Morning.
Okay. Now, particularly in the run-up to this very Congress by the MPP, we've had a number of known personalities coming forward. If you look at the litany of activities that seem to have happened in the run-up to this very Congress, issues about vetting of the various known personalities who want to contest for party chairmanship, right down through events over the last 24 hours when we've had press conferences being organized by some notable individuals who are contesting positions about perceived discrimination. And thirdly, also, there won't be time for those candidates who will be contesting the various positions to round up their, or even do summations of whatever campaign messages they have before the voting starts, etc. And all those concerns being raised. What does it say about the atmosphere before the event?
Good morning, Roland. Good morning to your viewers, and good morning to my young brother there. I think that there's a little saying that if your mother is dead and you start saying that your mother is asleep, within 3 days, the body will start decomposing. The fact of the matter is that
these positions are being contested for on faction basis. Akufo faction and Kufuor/Alan faction. If you see our folks, I can see our holding a dispatch today. You can see that somebody has raised concern about Richard Nama being asked to step down. And it is simple. Samir Wuku and Richard Nama are seen to be coming from the Akufo faction. Dagbele Ampong is seen to be the Kufuor faction. So they realize that if they let the two of them contest with Ampong are likely to slip through. So they asked Janoma to step down. If you look at General Secretary position, it's a straight fight between Sir John and Kwame Japan. Yabuabia Asamoah's inclusion is likely to affect Kwame Japan. Look at the chairmanship position. Stephen Ntim used to do the Kufuor faction. He has moved over. So the three persons, Fedowari, Dikobite and Stephen Ntim, are coming through with from the Akufo faction, and Afoko is from the Kufuor faction. Now, if even the Kufuor faction is 30-35%, Afoko is assured of those votes for the Kufuor faction. The three of them will be splitting the 60-65% of the Akufo faction. Two, if you look at the list, MPP, there's Akan Tree and Akan Party, because between 40 to 41.5% of their votes in the last elections have come from Ashanti East. So you get people, and mind you, this delegate, they are 5,200. It doesn't include the polling station. So the delegates are being selected in what they do. They may decide that, looking at all the positions, it is likely that all the positions will be Akan Tree or Akan Party. So let's give it a focus so that we try and disabuse people's minds that the MPP is an Akan Party. These are the dynamics playing. And it's going to be quite tense there in Tamale. It's not going to be easy.
Now, if we take a look at the delegates, 5,200 doesn't seem to be a very large number. It's very reachable to each individual, so to speak. But particularly on the sidelines when issues of ethnic balance or perhaps ethnicity and factionalism, which has always been denied, is it justified that as political watchers or pundits, when you stick to your guns and make such arguments, and then at the end of the day perhaps they may hold or not hold?
You see, after denying any party who said there are no factions, it's a blatant lie. NDC, they have their factions. They have Muhammad faction, most faction, Rollins faction. DPP has their Samia Nkuma faction, Abu Zakara faction. MPP can continue to deny they don't have faction. So you have situations where, I mean, like, as we speak now, some of the attitude, if this is the national executive election, this is what is happening. You can just close your eyes a bit and imagine what will happen as we get down to the flag directed election. Already, Alan Chamatin has fired very quietly intellectual shots at Akufo. You know, because if you say that the party must elect persons who appeal to voting voters, what does it mean? Yes, you can be champion at home, but no political party can win elections on their own steam. The cost of voters will not give you this. You have to go beyond. So what he's saying is that, for example, if he says that the MPP should have won the last two elections, yes, he has a point. And if you look at the last two elections, it's the inability of Akufo to attract the floating voters that caused the party the election.
Well, Mr. Hudson, if you take a critical analysis of whatever public opinion is, perhaps it's even more than 2 years to the next election in 2016. The economy is not doing too well, so perhaps the NDC government, as far as public opinion is concerned, will not be rated very high. That also gives some level of optimism to the NPP. But on the other side of the argument, if you take a critical look at the statistics as far as the population of Ghana is concerned, vis-a-vis what the voter population will be, you tend to have an indication that we could have very young voters come 2016. In excess of over 50% of the voter population who could be below the ages of 35. How crucial is it that when this very election is being organized for the MPP, and indeed we've had other well, notable elections at the polling station level, the party would have a rethink of what the strategy should be for the base, as far as having a rethink of having young people, because this has been advocated by Alan Tremantin as well.
Roland, if I was an MPP strategist, I'd be very worried that the problems the government, the NDC government is facing now is coming now. If they come in a year's time, it was going to be very difficult for the MPP government, NDC government to turn it around. But let me tell you, if a year today, the gas is flowing so that the electricity supply is stabilized, they will not be, government will not be spending $3 million a day to import crude oil to support electricity generation. If a year today, the Mahama government is able to start the implementation of the free SHS, if a year today, most of the roads to farming communities, not even tarred, if most of the roads are level so that their food does not get rotten at the farm gates, if a year today, the 200 schools they started, MPP is going to be in big trouble, because one of the work we are doing is still region. One of the old women who has an MPP flag in the house, he said, and I'm quote out to at least, he said, "Meba, India na upe, niya ose ni nam gujasu, na niya ose ni ko fuma kofa namaba." To wait, what he's saying that, my son, which one do you prefer? Somebody who has his meat, is grilling the meat on the fire, ready to eat, or somebody who says, "I'm now going to the farm, the bush to bring the meat." So this is one of the things which is likely to determine the fate of the NDC government or the MP. If the NDC government does not do these things by next year, they should consider themselves out of the race.
Because I'm asking these questions because, well, if you, how critical is it that, well, political parties groom people and think of a generation beyond theirs, and vis-a-vis what the demographics are? And will personalities even matter at all? Whether I look nice or I'm young or I'm old, reservedly, across the political space in terms of political leadership holding?
The percentage of floating voters, Roland, has increased to almost 38 to 40%. As at 2010, 79.5% of the population was below 40 years of age. So 4 years on, we can see that a greater percent of the population are very young. In 2000 census, 50% of the population were above 18 years. As at 2010, 55.8. And you know, I'm doing a new book, so I've been working for the last year and a half. And you can see that across all the 10 regions, across the age structure, you see that three things matter: creation of jobs, improvement in the economy, infrastructure development. One thing I can tell you is that there's a general distrust of politicians. Because if a party, let's say in 2012, has said in its manifesto that in 4 years we will do ABC, 4 years means 2016. You said it in 2012. Roland, if you do it in 2016, nobody will believe you. Don't forget you said it before. They think you are doing it for the sake of election. So any party which wants to campaign must have a strong research base. You know, Alan made a point which was very important. He said that the NPP must do a research on the Ghanaian voter psychology. You must be able to, I mean, it's like taking yourself and laughing. If within your own community where you are likely to get votes from, people start attacking the government, you've done nothing. Because the government is even providing 100% job employment, 100% free electricity, those would never vote for the government. They must be able to be strategic and target areas where they are floating or where they are likely to switch.
Okay. Now, Mr. Asa, this very last question, a short one, a short response I want from you. Alan Chairman Ting, clearly, well, I'm not basing this on any statistics at all. It's not in the polls as far as the leadership of the party, the flag bearership race is concerned for 2016. If you look at all the indicators and what the response of the grassroots of the MPP is concerned, clearly it should be Nana Adedankwe Akufo-Addo. So if he comes out making these comments, it's expected, isn't it? Why do you dwell so much on such a personality?
If it is one-on-one between Alan Chairman and Akufo-Addo, it will be too close to court. If it is Nana Akufo-Addo and 3 or 4 others, Nana will win. Because within the party, you will see that the anti-Nana may have 50%. If 2 or 3 people contest against Nana, they make it easy for us. So a lot will depend on those who will file because of the nature of the flag bearer. If it's one-on-one, Alan Nana, it is very close. If it's Nana and 3 others, Nana will win hands down.
Okay. Thank you very much, Benefson. He's a managing news editor of the Daily Dispatch, but also a pollster. I know that he's preparing a book. We're looking forward to reading that very compilation before we do our own analysis for 2016 and doing the reportage. Thank you very much, Benefson. I have Joe Appiah. Joe Appiah is a member of parliament for Ablekuma North. A very good morning to you. And we're just making...
the late Joe Appiah. He's a late Joe Appiah.
No, he's not. He's around here. Okay. Now, particularly when it comes to the elections and the Congress you have, will you be in Tamale?
Yeah, I'll be.
Okay. If you look at all the issues that are coming and some of the candidates have been protesting, raising concerns about how they will not even give round-up speeches before voting starts, etc. These are concerns that perhaps your party needs to address.
Yeah, I think it's in the right direction. We need not to, bring out messages from the contestants. We have to get the business moving. I don't think it's necessary for us to, take waste from all the contestants. I don't think it's not necessary. The necessary to do is to get the votes for who is to win at that day. That is all. That's my opinion.
But you don't think that when we have the last day of the election, that is when the candidates would decide what they need to do in summation in terms of the speeches,
the atmosphere,
and then the delegates also would decide who they want to vote for. It could swing people's minds.
The delegates have already made their minds. They've already made their minds.
So it doesn't matter.
They've campaigned for so many months.
The concerns that have been raised is that this has been skewed just for the parochial interest of certain individuals.
No, I don't think it is true. It is not true.
Okay.
They've really campaigned and they have their messages. And I don't think it's necessary for them to give us speeches for the contestants. They've already made their case, and whoever is involved to win will win that day.
How crucial is it that you elect people who think of the next generation, but who also will put you in a better state to win 2016?
Yeah, you see, it's all about leadership. Our party is very democratic. It's like NDC, Social Democrats. We are not seeing anything about social interventions in their administration. So you see, you create wealth where there's scarcity. That's the way I believe it. You create wealth where there's scarcity, and we have grouped the people. Our men are there to give us the best candidate to take up the mantle of the leadership of this country. So I know Saturday will be the day for MVP for us to go to Congress, get the winners, then we'll start business. So apart from what I'm talking about, the leadership is what we are echoing. And I know we have got the leaders who can take this country and move this country forward.
Okay. Since you didn't come earlier, we're talking about your party raising concerns, your side of the house, the minority, raising concerns about the $306 million Ridge Hospital loan. And the paper says it's a scam. The point is that this agreement came before the House. It came before the plenary after the committee stage.
My brother, it is pathetic.
What is?
You see, it came to the floor of the House. My good friend was also part of the deliberation that we did in terms of the Ridge Hospital project. You know, the Crown agents were invited and they brought a quotation of $160 million.
No, they did an evaluation.
Evaluation, that's an evaluation of $160 million. You see, he's laughing. He's not feeling ashamed of himself.
Why?
Yeah, he should burn himself in remorseless shame.
Why?
Because how do you?
But you're a member of Parliament.
Yeah,
the whole Parliament.
that is, I know.
But is it more interestingly? I wasn't even in the country when they approved.
No,
well,
but I'm saying I'm not holding.
Well, I'm coming. I'm making a point.
Please let him make
there must be a value for money. This project is $305 million. $306 million. And now the evaluation of crime is $160 million.
So your side of the house is worried.
Yes, we are worried that $142 million is going to
government valuers.
It's going to people's pockets.
After doing the evaluation, pegged it at 100. That's you're saying. Okay.
And now they have raised it to $305 million. So the money will be going to their pockets. Oh yes.
But you are a member of Parliament. How come that this probing was not done before that?
Yeah, we did it, and in fact, the evaluation. When these loans come to Parliament from the House, yes, they don't have their time to wait and have things done at the right time. This is what they have been doing in the floor of the House. Who? Those in the majority. This thing was supposed to.
Aren't you supposed to raise the issue in Parliament? As members
what
of
I'm saying that the evaluation that came is 162, and now the project is 305. So where is the 142 million? 142
million?
Where is it going?
Where is it going? Okay. So you think that the agreement should be brought back to the House?
It has to be brought back.
Roland, just a quick.
Roland, it has to be brought back.
Ask my brother at what point did he realize that the program was
thanks for asking the question.
Because
no, I'm asking
when the one that they brought before the House, wasn't it 306?
When did you notice?
When we were approving, wasn't it 306?
We were telling them it was too much.
Please,
we told them. Yes, we told them it was too much.
Who did you tell?
We told.
You had the floor. Who did you tell?
No, we told them at the committee level. We told them.
What committee level?
At the committee level, we told them. So it has to come back to Parliament for it to
stop the hypocrisy.
I mean, it's not hypocrisy. There must be value for money.
Thank you very much.
There must be value for money.
You think that you can distract attention from
on Joynews on Multi TV. I've had as my guest this morning George Lowe, a member of Parliament for North Dan. He's also a legal practitioner. And also Joe Appiah. And Joe Appiah is also a member of Parliament for Ablekuma North in the Greater Accra region. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen.
Okay.
Okay. And
we'll try.
I hope to have you in the studio the next time quickly. So
okay, I'll come quickly.
And that's it for AM Talk. Please join us. We have a lot more for you on the AM show. And we know that the NPP, this very Saturday is the D-Day for them to elect their national executives. We have a whole team there already giving you what the updates are prior to that very National Delegates Congress. Emmanuel is leading the Joynews team. He's currently online to give me a lot more as to what the atmosphere is, the personalities he's spoken to, and what really the expectations are.
Election to elect their members for the 2016 elections. Now we are in Tamale, Gombehene, Waterworks Road. We are trying to find out from people how the euphoria here is and what they are thinking of, or what they make of the whole program. I have with me here the TESCON president of the Tamale Poly to tell us about what preparations they have also done so far to ensure that the event is successful here. Rashid, you are welcome to Joynews.
Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, what has been the most memorable thing in this particular election that is going to take place? What do you think, what do you make of as a young person from the northern side of this country?
Yeah, thank you very much. We, the young folks of this party, we are very grateful that the event is coming to the northern region and Tamale precisely. Really, we are happy because we learned the party history originated from the northern region here, and we've never had such program in the region here. It's this time round that the party think it wise bringing it here. So we are very happy and welcome that, and we believe subsequently such programs will be held in the northern region here.
All right, now let's talk about the euphoria in town. Up to yesterday, there was not much to indicate that something is about happening here. But at dawn, we can see that there are some flags hoisted around the light posts and all that. What is the euphoria here?
Really, as you just said, you can see, we hesitated mounting the flags and other things because, you know, the rain is just setting in here. So it has destroyed a lot of banners and posters around town. So we are replacing it again. So we said, we advised ourselves that we have to delay so that getting some few days to the election, we can just mount those things so that it can take us beyond the election date. That's why you are now just seeing it. But we mounted it even 1 month ago, and rain has destroyed majority of the posters and the banners here.
Right. Now, how prepared are you for the event?
Oh, we are very much prepared. As you can see, we are happy that the regional executives, they are just briefing us as to how it's going on, and you, the media, too, you are helping. Because most of the time you interview our leaders and they always see how the preparation has gone. Especially the chairman, I could hear the chairman yesterday in the morning explaining how preparations have gone far. So we too, we are very much happy when we hear them saying that everything is advancing. We are very grateful.
Now let's talk about security. What security arrangements have people of the TESCON made to ensure that it helps or it aids the security of this whole event?
You know, for security, really, the police, the military, they all assured, our leaders approved them and they assured of providing maximum security. And really, for TESCON, initially we collaborated with the regional executives who are the organizers of this program. They assured that we should get them some people. You know, when you have the state security, also you need party boys who assist them to identify people who are miscreants, who would like to destroy the ground. So we put some guys of the party in place who assist the state security to make sure that we have a very good Congress.
Now, what does it mean to the youth of the northern region from both sides of the political divide? What arrangements are there?
Really, looking at the atmosphere now, it's as if NDC youth and MPP were one for now, because we crack jokes. People will say, oh, you give us accreditation to enter, we'll assist you. Now, Tamale, we are not ready for violence again. So really, some of the flags you can see on the major streets in Tamale, we did some of them with even NDC guys who said, no, it's time for us to smoke the peace pipe. So really, we are just together all the time. So we are all happy. You will not believe, on that day, you will see NDC supporters who will be there with us. Some of us will help them to get accreditation to enter, so that the picture they paint northern region, we just want to write it off people's mind that now northern region is the most peaceful region in the country for now.
Right. Now, let's come to the election itself. Who is your favorite candidate when it comes to the national chairmanship?
Really, I shouldn't disclose this thing on air because I'm a delegate. And really, I have my favorite. Looking at, this is a history that we want to make. And if we want to make a history, there is one particular candidate among the national chairmanship that we are all rooting for to make the history complete. And that candidate, really, I will not mention the name straight, but if I say we want to make a history, and the thing is happening in the northern region here, which has never happened, and somebody is contesting, which we have never seen such a contestant before in the party. And really, we will use that passion to make the history complete.
Well, thank you very much, Rashid. We'll be talking to some more people on this street. Some of them have also given us the impression that they have already made their choice, but it is yet to manifest because the election day is yet to happen. We'll also be talking some more people to find out what their choice, the choice they have made, who they think can push the party forward, who they think they can elect to make the party or to elect the leaders that will lead them to the 2016 national general elections. I have here another person who is going to tell us about his opinion of this whole program. What do you make of the event, the National Delegates Conference that is going to be held in Tamale here?
Yeah, it's been good. My name is Mohammed Amin, the electoral area coordinator of the Gumbini South, electoral area for Tamale Central. Yeah, so far the euphoria is very nice. As you can see, the flags are flying high, and the candidates so far have organized almost not less than 10 groups within the electoral area. And then we can see that Paula Foko, Stephen and Tim, John Bedu, they're all in, and all the youth groups are rallying behind them. I think so far the euphoria is very nice and everybody's ready for the G-Day, that is Saturday.
So you're mentioning some names. Do I take it that they are your best choice for the positions you're mentioning?
No, you know, the youth groups, as for them, they go to make their own choices. They believe these people or this person can be can help the party win 2016 elections. So they are in and they are making their own choices. They are assessing them, and so far they are going in for such candidates.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what in your own power as a young person, what have you done or what are you making? What plans are you making to ensure that the security of the people that will be besieging Tamale are taken care of?
Oh yes, most of the youth groups, they are calm, and I don't think they would want to mad or disturb the security situation in Tamale, especially the MPP boys, because they are organizing the conference. So therefore, they will not want any other person to come and disturb. So therefore, everything is in order. I think they are doing well towards that.
All right, yeah. Thank you, Rashid. We'll be talking to some more people, and I think the security situation that